Over 60% of businesses struggle to close deals. Sales teams are spending hours talking about products, features, and the latest and greatest, but it's not resonating with buyers. And at the end of the day, if we don't resonate with buyers, we don't close deals. I've been in sales for over 20 years, and I've experimented literally with every sales technique that's out there, including BANT. But there's one strategy that really opened up my eyes on how you get buyers interested in what you're doing and how you can help them. And that is called problem-centric selling. It puts the buyer at the center of the conversation, not you, the seller. Hi, I'm Celeste Burke, a sales trainer and a certified gap selling training partner. Whether you're in B2B sales, tech, SaaS, if you're in the sales seat or a sales leader, this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to make your prospects lean in versus ghosting you or just not responding at all. At the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to stand out as a problem-centric seller, so buyers pay attention and are willing to go along the journey with you. Point one, you have to understand your prospect's world. Knowing about your customers and your prospects is at the heart of problem-centric selling. This means that you must understand the business acumen that they talk about, how they make money, and what unique business problems you unequivocally solve for them, that they often don't realize what problems they actually have. Without a problem, without a gap, there is no sale. We often say, no gap, no sale. And it is up to you, the salesperson, to understand and get very curious about the problem environment you know you can solve for your buyers. When you understand and you show up to help them versus to sell to them and really hone in on the problem and the impacts, buyers pay attention because they find you credible. So this leads us to the next strategy, which is the PIR. That leads us to point two, the PIR strategy. PIR stands for problem, impact, and root cause. Once you unequivocally know the business problems, not the technical problems, that you solve for your customers, your job doesn't stop there as a seller. You have to dive into how those problems are showing up in an organization, what those impacts are, quantify the impacts, and then show what the problems are stemming from, which is what we call the root causes. Once you're able to tie all of those together, you can make a case for your customer. They understand what is causing the problems and what they have to fix in order to make those problems and those impacts go away. Within the impacts lies the motivation to change. So don't skip that. You have to get to the impacts of the problems. Point three, understanding where your customer is and where they want to go. We call it the current state and the future state. As a problem-centric seller, it is not enough to understand the unique business problems that you solve and the impacts and what they're stemming from, which are those root causes. You have to understand where your customer is and where they want to go. That is the gap. We call it the current state, everything that is happening right now. Do you have a really good understanding of what is happening in your customer's environment? And then where do they want to go in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years from now? Knowing that is going to help you establish the gap and what happens if they do nothing. Are they going to be able to achieve that future state? Understand the current state and the future state. Point four, that is the gap. As we previously talked about, once you understand the current state and the future state, you have what is called a gap. When you don't have this information, you don't know how to quantify the gap and what happens should your customer choose to do nothing. Where do they want to go? Why does it matter? Once you're able to identify what that gap is, you can start to dissect. Why does it matter? Why do they need to get there? What are the milestones that they need to hit in order to achieve that future state? This is what we call the gap. You have to establish the gap as a seller, and we're going to talk about the why in point five. Point five, the cost of inaction. So often sellers look at the return on investment, and buyers are looking at that too. But it's our job as a problem-centric seller to talk about the cost of inaction. What happens if a business chooses status quo? It doesn't take action. You've already uncovered what the problems are. You have uncovered what the impacts are, what it's stemming from and the root causes. You understand the current state, you understand future state. So you've gotten a gap. Now it's your job to make a case for change. You can show the buyer what happens if they choose to do nothing. So often the gap is so big and you've quantified it. The buyer didn't realize that was going to prohibit them from getting to where they wanted to go. Good job. You've created a cost of inaction and a reason for the buyer to change. If you or your team are currently looking at your pipeline and realizing you have buyers that ghost you, you have deals that are going nowhere, and you have opportunities that sit in your pipeline for a long time, you may be guilty of being a product-centric seller, focusing all about your product and nothing about the buyer's environment. When you switch to becoming a problem-centric seller, you understand their complete environment, where they want to go, and what happens if they stay where they are. If this has helped you and you want to share it with somebody else who you fear may be a product-centric seller, go ahead and tag them or share them. More sales tips and more videos are coming up. Subscribe so you don't miss out.